Welcome back to another tier list video on Giz Audio. Now, we haven't done a tier list video for the under $100 category for quite some time now, so I decided maybe I should update that. Now, this tier list, as you can see, is a very simplistic one, you can say. There's only 3 different tiers, and that is blind buy, of course, self-explanatory. It's so good, you can just buy it. You can just buy these IEMs and most of you will be very happy with the purchase. Lower than that will be good, as in generally good, demo first if you can, but generally a really good IEM. And the last one is skip, because under $100, if it's not good, it's really not worth your time at all, because there's so many other options on the market in this price bracket. Now, speaking of options, of course, there's not every single option on this tier list. I'm just gonna talk about some of the more relevant ones nowadays. There are too many. If I were to add all of them, there will be like 200-300 IEMs here, which is really not that helpful. So with that out of the way, let's jump into the first one here. We have the Tanz Gym for You. Now, I don't want to say too much about this IEM yet because I'm working on a review for it, but generally, it is a good IEM. I like that it has 4 bass options as well, even though I find that only 2 of them are listenable to me, the other 2 are not so good, but I like the technology built into it, especially for the price range that it is at. Now, next one here is the Zero, the original, and I would say this one is still generally good, but since the Zero 2 exists, I would recommend you just to skip this one and just get the Zero 2, because the Zero 2 is just a more balanced sounding signature and just sounds better overall, and it doesn't have quite a high treble peak that the original Zero have. So Zero 2 is right here. I'm just gonna put it actually in blind buy. It's like $20-something, nice balance, bassy-ish kind of tuning. A lot of people are going to be happy with that. I can't imagine anyone complaining about this, especially at $20-something. Next is the Aria 2, and I would say that it's good. Nice, balanced, slightly bit bassy, warm-ish kind of tuning, non-offensive for the most part, and decent treble extension as well. So good. I think a lot of people will enjoy this, but it is a little bit expensive, I would say, for it to be a blind buy, especially considering like the competition around this price point nowadays. Next, we have the other Arias. Now, I think the Aria 2 is better than both the Snow and the original Aria. So if you're gonna get an Aria type of signature, get Aria 2. The treble on the Aria 2 is just superior. Next is the RTT10, a planar IEM that is very similar to the S12 by Les Shores, and to no surprise because it's made in the same factory, but this one is half the price of the S12, and I think this is an easy, good IEM. The reason it's not a blind buy is because when it comes to planar treble, especially planar that is similar to S12, it can be a bit divisive. So I suggest you demo first before buying a planar IEM. Next is Blonde 03. I added in here just for laugh. It's not really relevant anymore, but it's kind of good context, I guess, of where the hobby is now. Blonde 03 was a competitive IEM. Now it's just all right, so I skip mostly because there's so many other options nowadays. Kiwi Ears Cadenza. This one never really struck a chord with me. I thought the treble was a bit rough, and yeah, it's a skip for me, considering the competition that doesn't have that kind of rough-ish kind of treble. This one is Shoe 2, not the DSP. I didn't put any DSP IEM on this list just to keep it kind of fair. And the Shoe 2, I would say is, man, hard to say, because it is, on one hand, it is pretty good and it's pretty cheap, but at the same time, I don't know. It's like it wants to live in between here. I would say skip. I think it's good, but it's not good enough. Next is the Clinical X Truthears Zero, the blue one, the original. Now this one I would say is good. It's a Harmon-ish kind of tuning, clean, sub-bassy kind of focus. It's gonna be fun for a lot of people, but it could be a little bit too bright at the same time, so test it out first. Next is the original Shoe, which is a skip for me. It's a bit bright and timbre is just not as good as the rest of the offerings that are better than it. And same goes for the Dose. I didn't really like that one either. from the get-go. I think it's one of the weaker Kiwi Air IEMs as well. They generally make really good stuff, but the Dose, they kind of missed the mark there. Next one is actually, I would say it's good. I have nothing against this one. This is the SimGod EW200. A nice kind of slightly bit warm balanced signature. It's just good, like your decent good IEM that is plenty on the market nowadays, you can say. Next is the F1 Pro by Nice HCK. This one is another, I like to call them S12 clones because they sound kind of like S12. This one is a bit more balanced out. It's safer to buy, and I think this one, nah, I'm just gonna put it in good. I'm gonna put it in good simply because it still has a bit of that planar-ish kind of trouble, so you should give it a try first if you can before you buy it, but generally it is a good IEM. Next one is the Voodoo by Tangsu, and I never really jive with this one. Out of all the Tangsu IEMs, I think this is one of the weaker ones, so skip. It's too warm, it's too undefined, and all in all just a bit mushy in the details as well. Heart Mirror Pro, now this one I would say is, man, it used to be good. It used to be good because it basically is just the Aria. It sounds very close to it, but I guess now it's a skip because again, Aria 2 exists, and I think the Aria 2's treble is superior than the older single DD type of tuning that is more reminiscent of the old Aria, if you will. Next is the Hexa, and the Hexa I would say is, man, I want to say blind buy, good, blind buy, good, blind buy, good. I mean, the Hexa is just easy to listen to. If anything, it's just boring. I think that's the only big con about it, is that it is quite boring. So I guess good. Next is the Line, and this one's gonna go in the same camp as the Shoe 1 because it is very similar to the Shoe 1. If anything, it should have been called the Shoe 2 because of how similar they are. I don't know why they call it the Line, but skip on that one as well. Ola Bass, I would say, is good. It is a bit bright in the, I would say, upper mid-range frequencies, so that liveliness might not be a cup of tea for some of you guys out there, but all in all, still a really good IEM. Next one is Wan and it goes straight up to blind buy. It is one of the easiest IEM to recommend to purchase because it's under $20 and is tuned really well. Vocal sounds nice, bass is not too tucked, it has a natural decay to it, treble is not annoying as well. A little bit on the tame side, which works in its benefit because it helps the timbre to sound extra smooth. So yes, blind buy on the Wan. Next one is the Dunu Titan S, the original Titan S, and I would still say it's good today, man. Like, I sampled it recently and I still like it. It's still a good IEM till today. And you can probably grab this one for cheaper than what it usually go for nowadays because it is an older IEM. Speaking of Titan S, I would now go to Titan S2. Again, I'm not going to say too much about this one because a full review will be coming up in the future, but in general, I also think is good. Next one is the Gate, and the Gate replaces the Ola. The Ola is now discontinued, you can't get it anymore, but the Gate is not that good. For me, I don't like a bit of scratchy harshness in the treble, so I'm gonna say a skip for the Gate. Sadly, it looks really pretty. I like that open, transparent design you can see on the inside, looks really cool, but it's just not that good. Next is Clinical Singolo. Now this one, I haven't talked about much at all on my channel, and for good reason, is that I think it's a little bit too expensive for the tuning that it has. It has good technology in here, which I would love to see in future releases. And the new tech really did its job exactly like it was supposed to do. So I'm excited for what Crin is gonna do in the future with this tech. But as of now, Singolo is kind of like a successful experiment, but not very competitive. Next is the Tangsu XHBB Xuanu. A very, very good sounding IEM, very similar to the Truthears Nova, but with slightly bit more mid-bass, just a touch more mid-bass. So it's still, I would call it a Harman inspired kind of tuning. Sounds great overall, comes with all the benefit of a Harman style IEM. And again, half the price of the Nova, I would put this in the blind buy category. And last but not least is the Truthears X Clinical Zero Red. This one, again, easy blind buy as well, because it just sounds very safe. Neutral, balanced tuning. No one's going to complain about the tuning of the red. It's just so cohesive, and the timbre is also good. There's nothing that I can really nitpick out of the tuning of the red, especially for the price point that it's at. And it also comes with the 10 ohm adapter, which gives it a bass boost at the same time. So you're getting two different tunings in analog in an IEM that's $55. So yeah, blind buy. All right, that is it for this tier list today. If you want to do this one yourself, I'll leave a link to it down in the description. And with all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out and bye.